Morning everybody, thank you for joining me for today's CraftTV. Now today is going to be a brilliant show. We've got something amazing to share with you, and it's an opportunity for me to actually share loads of techniques and tips that I've quite recently learnt myself. But if you've not already met me, my name is David Waite and I'm part of the team here at Highlight Crafts, and I also demonstrate on Create and Craft as well. So some of these shows that I bring to you, it's nice to have these moments, then bring it back to here in Derbyshire, be able to share a bit more time with you, to maybe recap some of the stuff we covered in the show, or maybe just get an opportunity to share a few new tips and techniques with you. But this is amazing because stamping is a technique that I started working with maybe about a year ago. I'd always loved watching it being done, and the way that you can create some incredible perspective with masking, different techniques, and that really allowed me to explore different ways to then elevate my craft. So what I'd really love to do today is be able to sort of convey that over to yourselves as well. So if any of you have joined us already, thank you ever so much for joining. These CraftTVs are, like I say, they're a brilliant opportunity, and let us know in the feedback as well what you'd like to see, whether you'd like some more techniques, whether you'd like us to cater more to different sort of mediums. And this is a brilliant one because what we've got is the Vintage Inc. Now, this particular collection, it launched with the lovely Mel last month on Create and Craft, and it was crazy. It went mad, and you absolutely loved it. And Mel actually shared some of the most intensive knowledge I've ever learned, and extensive knowledge, because it opened up a complete new world of stamping. Because of course I've seen stamping where you literally stamp the image out and you can colour it in whichever way you wish. But what I loved about those shows and the way that we were able to watch was that if you're like myself and you're not a colourist and you may be thinking, well, floral stamps, beautiful detailed stamps, different imagery with stamps look amazing, but I get a little bit nervous when it comes to colouring. These sorts of techniques and tips that Mel showed you took all of that away. It meant that no matter what skill level you were at, maybe you did your first time stamping, which it's a perfect collection for, it meant that you could pick up that skill and then completely tailor it to whatever craft you've done. So if you like making your scrapbooking pages, if you like doing your inky backgrounds, this is great for that, because all you then need to do is overlay with your stamps. But then what we're going to do today in this hour, hopefully, is show you how you can then tailor that to maybe paper crafting, or of course then we can completely go all the way with home decor. It's entirely up to you. But this collection, Vintage Inc, is beautiful because we've got lace and we've also got florals in here as well. So, I've got a comment, lovely, from Donna. Oh, thank you ever so much for joining us. As well with these CraftTVs, whenever you're seeing me do anything on here, I love to see your feedback or share your samples as well. So if any of you have already got these stamps at home, let us see what you've done with them as well, because you should have got them by now, meaning you've got some lovely projects. So I'm going to show you exactly what you're going to get in this collection, okay? So you can see here the complete collection in front of you there. You can actually get 51 stamps, and you're going to get 8 viewfinders, which are brilliant for building your stories and your images. So the original price for this was $121.91, but it's down to $69.99. And then of course, if you're a Robin's Nest member, that means you're getting it for $62.99 today. So of course, without the Nest member, you're saving $51.92, but if you are in that Nest members, you're saving $58.92 altogether, which is an incredible amount of saving, because you're thinking you're getting 51 stamps there. They're perfect for to work with. They're all on an A5 set. And what I love with this is that even with the florals, you're getting the decoupage elements, you're getting bits you can overlay, but those florals, some of those, the scale is immense. They're great sizes to work with. But on the other hand, when you're seeing those lace ones there, the detail within those lace, you're getting a full panel of A5 lace with that one, which means you're going to get the most incredible stamp for making your backgrounds. But when I first saw these stamps, I thought, I've never ever seen a lace stamp like that before, with that size and the crisp fine detail. I can't wait to show you because it just looks immense. It's amazing. But if you wanted to go for that Lace Perfection collection, you are going to get 14 stamps in total with that bundle. So you can see original price of $56.96 is now down to $39.99, and of course, if you are in a Robin's Nest member, you are going to get that for $35.99. So of course you've got a saving there of £20.97, which is incredible, because when you look at how much you're actually saving in comparison to what you're spending, you're getting a great deal with that one. And again, 14 stamps within that kit. You can see you've got corners. That one there in the bottom left, you can see you're actually going to get strips in there, which are great for finished edges for your cards, framing your cards. But if you've ever worked with lace dyes before or other laced imagery, this is a great way to completely elevate those projects that you've previously worked on, bringing a whole new plethora of detail to stamping. If you want to go for that flower patch collection, just those bundles of 4 on their own, it's a great kit to go with, a brilliant starter collection as well. You're going to get 37 stamps within that. So those 4 stamp sets consist of tulips, you've got some beautiful blooms with daisies. That's going to be original price of $56.96 altogether there, but it's down to $39.99, which of course means if you are a Robin's Nest member, you get it for the amazing price of $35.99. So you're going to get, again, an incredible saving of $20.97. So it's definitely worth it being in that Nest member. So of course, to go with this, you might want some backgrounds already done for you. Now this is brilliant because the Petals and Lace USB has 35 backgrounds and scenes on there for you to play with. You can alter the colorways of these if you want to. You can then print these out onto your vellums. You can print them onto your acetates and rice papers. So think of how much you can be creating of this. I mean, change that all one colorway. You've instantly got yourself 70 backgrounds. You can completely change the entire dynamic. So this is a USB, which I would say definitely is something to play with and then start on your journey with stamping and backgrounds. As well, we've got the Pureprint 300 GSM, so you're going to get 50 A4 sheets of this. This is brilliant. I'm going to be using this throughout the show as well to show you how beautiful it stamps with an ink. So you're going to get that. That was originally $9.99, so $7.99 today. And then, of course, if you are a Robin's Nest member, you're going to get it for the saving price of £7.19, which is going to give you a good saving of £2.80 if you are one of those members. Now, of course, you might be thinking, well, these Nest members' prices are incredible. How do I get them for that price? Now, this is how you then join, and this is what you're going to get in your Nest membership. So it's a payment of £24 for a 12-month membership, which is amazing. And this is all accessible, of course, on the Highlight Crafts website. And the benefits that you're going to get in there, I mean, you can see straight away exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get 10% off all purchases on the Highlight Craft website. You're going to get free delivery on orders over £25. You're going to get early access to web exclusive, so you're there first. And you're going to get a Robin's Nest lanyard, which is great if you're coming to the shows, walking around, put your lanyard on, come and see us. As well, you're going to get your pin badge to go with that. Some amazing special offers. You're going to get a little window sticker, which you could put in your car or in your house, wherever you want to, or maybe on a project. And then you can hear about all the workshops and retreats first. So you've got first dibs on getting to know the best bits that are coming from Two Red Robins and Highlight Crafts. So that's an amazing little family to be part of in that nest. So before I get into a quick demo, I just want to quickly show you just a few of these samples. Okay, now this is where inspiration just flows, because with these, they are incredible. Now, if you're looking at this particular stamped image here, this is how, if you want to, you can use just a singular stamp to create impact. And it's all built up with color composition and in a single stamped image. So you can see here, what's actually been done is that's stamped in a clear ink, and then we've got gold embossing going over here. That sets off an incredible effect with that. And again, the same stamp here in a different way, but there it's done in a clear ink, and then we've gone straight over with a glitter heat emboss with an inked background. Now I'm going to be showing you how you can create this technique here in the background and then completely change the center to whichever style you want to work with. But that's just a little example of those two there. And then I'm just going to show you this one stamp set on samples for just this moment. And I've got more to show you later on. This is just an inked background. So having a play with those inks, getting out your stash, having a play with those, and then stamping it over. You can see that's on a black emboss there. That is really just showcasing exactly what you're going to get with this. But it's fun crafting to do. It's fun to work with, and the results are incredible. And when you're working with stamps, where you've got a crisp line image, it allows you to take it into other ones. So with these stamps, when you've got that fine, detailed outer line, you can then scan these in if you wanted to. So you'll scan and cut, so you can cut them out on there, so that there's no fussy cutting. But just before I move on, I spoke to you about a lace stamp. It's this one here. So you can see I've been using this. There you go with that, with a clear ink, with a silver embossing. That is immaculate. And look at all of the lace detail that you're going to get within these stamps. Again, as well, thank you ever so much for everyone that is joining us today. It is great to have you here. So hi Madeline, hi Monica. I'm really grateful that you've joined us. As well, give us some feedback. I'd love to hear exactly what you'd like to see from us. So I'm going to put all these to one side. I'm going to get straight in. So I want to show you exactly what we're going to do with these. Now, when I spoke about when Mel did the shows, I found it so inspirational, because if you joined for those shows as well and you thought, I still want to see a bit more, this is a great opportunity for that. So what I've done is I've taken the two Red Robin's fundamental dies, okay, so I've got the lovely ovals here, and what I've done is I've literally popped it through here, and you've got your viewfinder to use, but I'm going to be inking onto this, so I didn't want to use my viewfinder to ink on, but of course you can if you want to. So what I've got here is my oval, and I'm going to then mask through here. So what I've got is my card blank, and I've cut this to around about 6 by 7, I think. And what I'm going to do first is create my stamped image on here. So we've got our two elements to build up our card. That's all you need for this project in terms of the structure and technique. So I'm going to take my load and fold, and stamping for me, the first time I ever did stamping, which was kind of different to this, was when I was in college, and I actually had rubber stamps and I couldn't see through them. And it gave me a great amount of difficulty, because then when it came to masking and lining things up, I could never get it quite right. And it was quite frustrating because, of course, you know, when you put in maybe a background or a repeat pattern, you want to get that image translating through your entire project. So with these stamps, they're fully transparent. They're a polymer stamp, so it means that you're going to get that transparency, and they've got just the right amount of pressure, which means that as you applying pressure to the stamp when you're actually creating the image, it doesn't squidge out. It's still got that resistance, meaning you get a crisp image every time. So I'm just going to lay my cardstock in here, and I'm using that 300 GSM Pureprint for this one, because then I can stamp onto it beautifully. So you can see here, we've got that down in front of us. So I'm going to go into my stamps. There we are, let's have a look what we've got here. I've got them all out in front of me because I just thought I want to play with all of them today. So I'm going to take off my carrier sheet. I'm going to work with this stamp here, which you can see I've been using quite a bit recently. So what I'm going to do is lay this face down side centrally to this card. Now I'm not going to measure it, but to the eye, I can see that's quite central for this. So I'm going to bring it down into my load and fold, pick it up, and then we're actually going to load this with a StazOn ink. Now, I'm choosing to use a StazOn purely because it dries extremely fast. So it's going to dry fast with this one, but throughout, oops, I've not taken my protector off, there we go. That was a little fun, interesting moment. I thought, why is that bouncing off the surface? You know, I've actually done something I never do, which is actually looked after something properly and kept the protector on my stamp pad. So there we go, we can actually get some ink out of it now. So I'm going to lay this down over my stamp. There we are. And before I spoiled that, I was telling you why I was using this. And the reason for that is because I'm going to show you different ways you can use this on different surfaces, whether it's acetate or glass, but it gives you a beautiful pressed image. So I'm going to stamp this down. I'm probably going to load it up a couple of times. So all I'm doing is giving an even distribution there. So you can see I'm going over the top of this with my hands. You could use a brayer, you can use a roller to distribute the pressure. So I'm going to take it off here. There we are. And again, I'm going to go back over with my ink. Now I can see on the image areas I want to apply a bit more pressure. So this particular flower here, I may have just missed. So I know that it's this one, so I'm going to load up a little bit more of my ink here. Going all the way around the edge because it won't hurt to go over it one more time. There we are. So I'm going to apply pressure to that little spot there, which I missed. If I just move it there, you can see because I had a little bit of the glare there. So I'm just going to go over there, straight on top and open. Oops, I've picked my image up with me. There we go. Perfect. So we've got our beautiful stamped image. So if I put the stamp back on my sheet, you want to always make sure they go on the carrier sheet that they come with. Of course, if you've got your stamp storage and things like that, they're great. If you're using your Craftmaster wallets, they go inside there brilliantly. So I'm going to take my tape off my load and fold, keep it nice and clean, which is something I'm getting used to because if you've seen me before on some of the shows, I do a lot of mixed media, creating a lot of backgrounds, inky stuff, and I usually finish the show looking like I've been decorating all day. But today, I'm going to try and keep that to a minimum, okay? I'm doing different things. So what I've got here is a beautiful stamped image. You can see, I mean, how exquisite is the artwork within there. I mean, the line detail that you're getting, it's almost like etched, but the plumes and the flowers, it flows beautifully. And you can see the size of that. If I just take a ruler next to it, from top to bottom, you're looking at about 6 and a bit inches for the size of that stamping height, which is massive. So this is great for just those centerpieces on your card. If you wanted to, think of stamping this multiple times and decoupaging all of those layers. So if you're into your decoupage and getting depth, this is the way to go with that. So this will have dried off now because it takes about 30 seconds with that StazOn. I absolutely love it. It's brilliant. what I'm going to do is I want to line this up with the centre of this oval. Now, when I was sat doing this, I thought, how can I make sure I get this centre? Okay, so what I want to do is line it up like this, knowing that it's going to be dead on. Before I lay it over, what I'm going to do is mask it. So I use some vellum. We've got some of this on the Highlight Crafts website. It's brilliant. It's the 140 GSM vellum, and you can see I've been using this quite a bit. So what I did was the exact same process here, but I used vellum as my substrate to stamp onto. And I'm going to add a little bit of stencil spray just onto the back, a tiniest bit, literally a tiny bit, which means it's going to last a lifetime. So I'm going to lay straight over that stamped image with this. And I cut it out. I just fussy cut it, but again, remember, if you've got that line around the edge and you've got your SVG cutting machine, your scan and cut, you can then cut that out really, really quickly. So I'm going to lay it over. There we go, start from the top. So you saw me then wiggling it around a little bit like this. The best way to do it is literally lay it on top and just drag it over the surface, okay? And then when it comes to the point, pinpoint where you want it. There we are, just like that. I've got a little petal there. I'm just going to bring that around. There we go. And then it should just follow the line naturally, because of course it's going to be the exact same size and shape as that stamped image. I mean, that there looks beautiful. That's incredible. This is the effect that you can get with ink and stamps. I just love it. So that there is now laid over the top, and we want to try and centralize this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to judge half and half here. I've got about 1.5 centimeters overlap this side and overlap that side. So if I just mark with a pencil, the top to the bottom here, and then what I'm going to do is mark centrally on this side as well. So I'm going to go there with a pencil and there with a pencil. So now I've got 4 little lines that go around on this paper as like little guide points. So if I face this through the opposite way, like this, I can then just line that up, just around the edge. So there's bits of pencil just thrown through either of these sides. I can tape this down, so I'm just going to use a little bit of low tack tape for this. I'm going to hold it down with my finger so it doesn't move. Tape it on the back, like that. Flip it over, and then what I've actually got is that oval that we cut over our stamped image, over the masking, which now means whatever ink we apply to this surface, it's not going to affect our stamp. So I'm going to take a bit of that tape again, and just to stop the whole thing wiggling around, I'm going to just tape it to my mat, okay? Because if it starts to wiggle, I'll be chasing it around the surface, okay? Here we are. Thank you again for everyone that is joining us. So I have a lovely question from Teresa. What stamp mat did I use? So my mat that I'm working on today, this is my glass mat I'm using, and the stamp pad I used was a StazOn. It's a solvent-based ink pad, which means, of course, it can go into multiple surfaces. So if it's going on glass, it's not going to wipe off. It's a brilliant stamp pad to work with. But on our Highlight Craft website, we've got some amazing distress inks to work with as well. So these are the sort of colours you can get. And I'm using aged mahogany as well today in the demonstration. These are fabulous because the blend you're going to get with these inks are incredible. Okay, so, and also I'm working right down on a sheet of Mylar, which is going to protect my surface because I'm going to get inky as well. So whatever surface you've got at home, what I used to do is I used to actually get card and put cling film over the top of it so it would protect the surface, and I put my glass mat on top because I'm a bit of a nightmare for getting spritzers out and inking everywhere. So what I've actually done is laid a piece of plastic underneath this. So I'm all set to go. I'm not going to get ink anywhere, I hope. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start inking up our image. So we've got our Distress Oxide inks, and I'm going into the Aged Mahogany, and then I've got this one here, which is Fossilized Amber. Okay, so do check out the Highlight Crafts websites for those on there. We'll be getting more in as well, so it's really exciting that we've got those on the website. I'm going to start off with my deepest colour first. So I'm just using these blending brushes, and some people like to use different types of techniques to wipe these on, whether the sponge sticks, the finger daubers, it's entirely up to you. But I'm going to start working into the bottom with this one, going straight over that edge, and I'm really going to intensify the colour with this. So again, when we spoke about at the start, being a little, this is like myself, and maybe you're not, maybe you're great at colouring your stamps. If you're like me, and you get a little bit nervous when it comes to colouring an image, because when I've stamped that image out, I look at it and think, wow, that there is incredible, but I then think, how am I going to colour this in? Because my background is model making and building things three-dimensional, and what I used to do as I used to build things from scratch from cardboards and bits of balsa wood, glue them together, and then I'd love it, and then I'd think, well, now I need to paint it, and I just feel like I'm going to ruin it. But when you actually then develop that fear into a different technique, it completely takes it all out of it for you. So I'm going to pop the dark one to one side, then I'm going to go into this beautiful light yellow here. I'm going to take some of that ink, I'm going to then bring it down from the top. So what I'm going to do is fetch all that ink, and I'm not going into this dark colour just yet, because then we're going to blend the two together. So I'm going to really intensify that colour up here, just like that. There we go. All the way around, and you can see now the way that it's building up, because I'm using that Pureprint 300 GSM, that particular cardstock, what it's doing, it's allowing me to blend it beautifully. It feels so smooth to the touch, but when you're actually, because it's got a heavy weight to it, when you're adding your inks to it, it doesn't buckle. It's not going to give you perforations like you would sometimes with a lighter or a very flimsy weight cardstock. So I'm going to eventually start to bring it down into this one here, and I'm going to stop around about here because I don't want to start to cross-contaminate my inks here. So I'm going to put my lid back on this yellow, bring back out this lovely aged mahogany here, fetch a bit of the ink up, and I'm just going to take a bit of it off here on my cardstock. I'm just going to start to brush it up into that yellow. Okay, so we're almost creating a bit of like a sunset image. So you see, I'm just going around there, I'm just literally kissing it with colour. I'm not going in intense, and I'm fading it out. And the way that I'm doing that is I'm actually going to share with you where I went wrong to start with when I was actually thinking what I'd like to show you. And because my background is a lot of stenciling with paints and paste and things, I was brushing way too firm with these. And if it was a particular brush you're using, this is a great thing to know, is that when you're actually going into your ink, okay, and straight to your surface, build up the pressure, go very gently, because what I did is I was treating it like I was stenciling with my stipple brushes, where I used to grind the pastes and wax in, which is great if that's the effect you want, but if you apply too much ink to the surface before you've actually finished your project, you're going to find it hard to budge that big, deep depth of pigment. So the best way is to build it up slowly. So apply a faint amount of colour by blending it out, pick up more ink, keep going to intensify it to where you want, because of course you can always add more ink, but you might struggle to take a little bit off. But you can do that with different techniques with water, but you know, it depends on the result that you're wanting to. So now I've got this beautiful edge, I can just go in with that deeper colour, just around the very base of this, and really intensify that, okay? So I'm going to take my inks away, pop those to one side, and then what we can do is remove this bit of tape, just like that. So what I've got is that beautiful image there underneath, that bit of cardstock. We can lift this up, which means that we are left with this oval now. So you can see there, we have the oval. Now you might be thinking, well, that looks great, but that stamped image is really dark. We can then remove this. And this is the bit that gives me like tingles when you see it actually come to life. So remove all of this, because we use that stencil spray, I've not left any residue on my surface of my project. And that there is your stamped image that you're left with. Now, for that, it's achievable for absolutely any crafter at all, because like myself, I looked at those flowers and instantly went, I need that flower in my collection because I want it and it looks beautiful. But I thought the colouring in is making me slightly afraid. But using a technique like this means the colour sits in the background, okay? So the colour's sat there behind, even complementing and showcasing that image even more than it may have done if you'd coloured it in by hand. But if you wanted to, when we cut this out, of course we were left with an image behind. You could have then used that negative from the cutout and inked through that as well on top of your image. So there is no limit to how you can colour in your images, okay? And I think an ombre way of colouring with your stamps is a great way to go, because you learn a lot about colour. And when I was working with these, I thought, what colour should I actually use? And we're going into spring and summer, so I thought, why don't I do a beautiful sunset with this? So all I'm going to do now is, if I go back into that stamp set, we have sentiments. Now I love this because the sentiments are really complementary to the florals that you're getting. So I'm going to pick this one here, and I'm actually just going to put it down in the bottom of this one. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to get my load and fold back out, and these are a great way just to add a little, they actually look very professional. So this is the way to make your cards look almost shop bought, because it really just adds that extra element of excellence. So I'm going to go back in with a little bit of my masking tape just to hold this in place. Then I'm going to place my little stamp here, There we go. And then just going to pick that one up. Really small stamps are super easy to do. Again, I'm going to go in with that stays on. But notice as well, when I did that stamping and the masking, none of that bled because we used that solvent ink pad. So I'm just going to load this one up here and bring it around. And I could have actually matte and layered this on a different colour complementing it, but I really just like the black standing out from it. It's that satisfaction you get with a resolution print, is that it's instant results. And when you get instant results, you get instant satisfaction. And that's why when you're working with a stamp with detailed imaging like that, which meant it was fully achievable, you're going to get that buzz. And I get it every time. I could stamp this 100 times and still get the same feeling because you could do it in whatever colourway you want. So I'm going to take that stamp off here. And as well, when you're thinking of the saving you're getting on a stamp set like that, to get that satisfaction result, it's a way of trying a new craft for an amazing price. So again there, you're getting those 51 stamps with those 8 viewfinders for £69.99 down to £62.99 if you are a Nest member. And again as well, to join the Nest members, you go to the Highlight Craft website, but you're going to save £58.92 there, which is incredible. I mean, when you look in there, look at all of those images you're getting from those lace works, those beautiful little lace hearts to the borders. And in that top right there, when you can see that lace flourish, it incorporates the hearts. So it's been built together, meaning you can create projects that all match. And those florals underneath, perfect for all seasons. But think tulips when we're coming into spring and Easter, brilliant for that. And those massive plumes of daisies as well. That is a great stamp to work with. They are beautiful. But that's ways you can elevate your stamping. So what I'm going to do, just to finish this off, all we've used is that mahogany and yellow ink, and we've used a black ink to stamp with. So I'm going to go straight onto a piece of black card, and this is matte and layering very simply, but it's a way of then adding that extra layer of impact. So we've used the stamp to create our image. So I'm just going to go around the edge of this with just a little bit of my pin flare. Because we're using that heavyweight cardstock, the 300 GSM Pureprint, I know that my card isn't going to buckle under my glue, and because it's that pin flare, the way that it dries means that by the time this glue has actually started to dry, it won't have actually fully absorbed into the cardstock. So I know I've got a really good grab with that. That black border there now makes all of that stamp image just go like that. It just pops off the surface. Okay, so I'm going to go straight in again with my glue here. Okay, we're just going to bring that down. I'm only putting all the way around the edge and a little bit in the center. You could use foam tapes to this to add extra layers as well with the same process. If you wanted to stamp it again and build up all these petals in multiple layers, you can still do that in monochrome. It looks beautiful. But that there, imagine a set of these sat in your craft store window. Imagine these being in the front of your page where you sell your crafts. You've got the freedom to do that because these are beautiful. But that to me, when you're looking at that stamped image, because we've got the same exact white background as here, it looks like that stamp's coming forward. It looks like you can grab it and touch it and take it away from the card. But all of that detail isn't lost with the colouring because you've got all that fine intricacy just with adding pigments and inks. So that there is a really simple way, but yet very effective. And of course as well, then you're left with this, which means you can use that time and time again, okay? Use your viewfinders for that, it's a great technique. And of course your viewfinders, they come on a 400 GSM weight, which means they're gonna last you a lifetime because that's a thick card. It's great to work with, but as well, think of if you've stamped out loads of those images, you've got loads of your roses, put them all down on your craft desk in front of you, put your viewfinder over and see how the flowers form. That way you can build stories with your flowers. I just think it's amazing. So we've got the first project done. Now I've got a couple to show you as well. I started showing you some samples. So I've got a few more just to share with you, and it's not so much finished samples, but it's ways that you can then complete these projects at home. So this is stamping with inks onto acetate. And then this is then actually white heat embossed. So maybe you want to completely change the dynamic of how the lace looks. This is effects that you can create with this. And then cutting and stamping your florals out, you can see, you can build them up to create your corners, your angles, amazing ways. But then again, when we looked at that lace, this here is that lace stamp, okay? Now that is your lace stamped out in clear ink with a white emboss. That looks like that lovely frilled lace that you actually have to buy. you can recreate it as many times as you want. And when you've got that embossed, you can add this to almost any surface you want to. This could be the wraparound on a candle if you wanted to. This could be place settings on a table. This could be finishing edges to your home decor pieces. Or you could be stamping onto your fabrics from Lemon Lane with this. It's entirely up to you. You can completely go into whatever direction you want to. It's an amazing, amazing stamp set to have in your stash. And for myself, being still relatively new to stamping, it's allowed me to explore new techniques because of the size of them and really the versatility of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to go on to our next one. Okay, so thank you as well everybody for joining us. It is so lovely to have you all. Diane Water said she's coming to the Peak District at the beginning of June. Oh, that's lovely. I mean, we've not got great weather today here in Derbyshire. It's actually horrific weather. But it's absolutely beautiful around here as well, because when the sun's shining, it's just so picturesque. It's absolutely beautiful. Pureprint 300 GSM, just want to share that with you again as well. £9.99 down to £7.99. And of course, if you've gone for that Robin's Nest Members Club, you've got £7.19 only to spend on that, which is incredible. It's going to give you a saving in the Nest Members for £2.80. It's incredible. You're going to get 50 A4 sheets of that. So imagine how many projects you're going to create. If you could cut every single one of those in half, you've then instantly got yourself 100 A5 cards, which is incredible value. You're spending £7.19 to get 100 A5 cards. That there just gives me shivers, because I mean, you could fold all of these in half instantly. That's all your card blanks done. Score them straight down the middle. Great as well though for the techniques we've just done for inking. You're going to get that complete collection with your petals and lace for this one. And as well, those viewfinders are going to come in handy just for exactly what I've showed you there. 51 stamps. And as well with that one, you are going to get it's saving of £58.92 for a club for a Nest members price of £62.99. So you're going to get free P&P UK orders over £50, which is incredible. When you're thinking about how much you're going to save on that one, it's amazing. So definitely bear in mind, if you're going to go for those stamps, you might want to pop in some of that cardstock as well to get you going with that, because then you're going to get your free P&P, which is just amazing. As well for these as well, $39.99 they're down to, and as well, Robin's Nest members price, you're going to get it for $35.99. So the Laced to Perfection collection, you've got 14 stamps within that kit, and you've got a save in there of £16.97. And if you're going to go in that Nest members, you're going to save £20.97. How incredible is that? You're literally not far off saving exactly what you're spending, which is amazing when you're seeing the actual quality you're going to get to work with there. A5 stamp sets to work with, great for your journaling, scrapbooking, your card making, anything you want to take these into, especially if you're at beginner, intermediate or advanced. So it's really a brilliant kit to work with in terms of all areas of craft, if you ask me. It's great. Again, you might be thinking, how do I actually join that Nest member? Well, you go straight to our Highlight Crafts website at highlightcrafts.com. You'll be able to find it on there, and it's £24 for a 12-month membership. So, of course, inclusive within that membership, you're going to get 10% off all purchases on that Highlight Craft website. You're going to get free delivery on orders over £25. You're going to get early access to web exclusives, Robin's Nest lanyards. Of course, you're coming to see us at Crafting Live, all those lovely events. Wear your lanyard and of course your pin badge as well, which is brilliant, because then we'll be able to see you and you can come and have a chat with us. You're also going to get special offers. You're going to get that window sticker as well, so think about where you're going to be putting that one. I know I'll be putting mine in the back mirror of my window of my car, so I can show it off. And then also hear about workshops and retreats first, so you've got the advantage to step inside first, hear about all those workshops and retreats, and that way you can get ahead of everybody else. So £24 for 12 months of that is incredible. You're only paying £2 a month for that, but you're paying it all in one go, so once it's done, you've got all of that forward, exciting stuff to look forward to. Again, that entire collection, just to remind you of that one before we go into the next demo, you can see you've got all of those. You've got over 50 stamps in that collection, an incredible saving, an amazing price. It really is a brilliant offer that we've got for you today. So I'm going to start to build up my next project that I've got here, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is show you how we can do something on a different background. So we're going to work with ink on this one. So I've got myself here a inky background, and I'm going to work with cardstock. So we've got some of that 300 Pureprint card as well, and I've actually chosen Mel's in today. And I went up to Mel and went, Mel, I really want to try something that's going to give me an amazing effect. And she went, I've got just the thing. and she showed me something called brushos, and it has completely blown me away, because this then meant that when stamping, the effects you can create are immense. So what I've got in front of me is my cardstock, and I'm actually going to get, let's have a look. I'm going to work on my glass mat for this one. So I'm going to actually take some of my brushos out onto here. And for this particular project, I think what I'm going to use, let's pick a stamp set. Let's have a look. Yes, so I'm going to work with this one here. So we've gone into those beautiful florals. So it's the Peony I'm going to work with today. So you can see all those beautiful images. You've got these two massive ones here, then all the foliage and extra decoupage to work in as well. So great to build up a massive spray with these. You could completely frame an image with this. We're going to work with these ones. So firstly, I'm going to take some of my brushos. Now these are just incredible. I'm going to take, what am I going to do here? Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of red. All comes out looking black to start with, which I just find incredible as well. I'm then going to use a little bit of orange. So I'm going to take a bit of that orange, sprinkle it in different areas. I'm going to take a violet as well. Now I'm showing you this because I want to show you that making your backgrounds, if you're comfortable with that and it's something you've always done, you can then turn it into your stamping. Or maybe if you're just stamping and not done backgrounds, this will show you how you can then do that. So I've put my brush paints down, and then I'm just going to take a bit of water, spritz over the top with my water, and you can see there, the whole thing just comes to life. Now you can intensify this as much as you want to. If I was to keep going with water, it just makes it travel. I mean, that to me opens a new world of background making. So you can see there, we've instantly got something perfect to work on with this. Okay, so if you've got something like this in your stash, maybe you've got your inks, get ahead and start doing this, because honestly, it's a brilliant thing to do. So what I'm going to do, before I do exactly what I said I didn't want to do, which was get ink absolutely everywhere, I'm just going to do a bit of clearing up, because I've shown you how we're going to make our background, because what I didn't want to do was go, look at this background I've got, and you've got no idea how I've made it. So I'm going to take a little bit of the pooling water off the surface of this, okay? So I'm literally going to go straight over the top. And you can see there on our website, we've got some relating products. So check those out. I mean, that distress ink there, that one in your gathered twigs, brilliant for all your photos. It is an amazing opportunity to have these on our website. We've got the Distress Oxide, you've got that aged mahogany, which I used in that first demonstration. And again as well, using your Craftmaster fine liners within your project is great, because you can touch up areas, you can then divide up areas. So for example, on something like this, okay, you can actually go down the edges with this, with your fine liners. So bring those in, you've got all of these colours here to work with. So they're going to go hand in hand with that USB, really complement. And of course, maybe if you're thinking, well, actually, I want to give it a go, I want to colour my stamps in, these will be brilliant. They've actually got a mesh nib to them, meaning you've got the perfect amount of ink flow that's going to come through onto your stamped image. So that is a great product to go for if you're going to pick those stamps today. So do check out the Highlight Crafts website. So you can see there we've got a lovely inky background to work with. And I'm going to set this to one side because I've got a dry one for you, okay? So it's just there for you to see. So one I've got here, which I prepared earlier, I'm going to set it on my glass mat, and we're going to start to build up our image. So what I'm going to do is go straight into our load and fold. I'm going to open it today at some point, and I'm going to lay it down within here. Now what I want to actually do is not use the full image. I'm going to actually use elements of my stamps, okay, for this particular one. So I'm going to go into this stamp here first, okay, and I'm going to bring it up into here. And as well, if these sorts of techniques are something you've done before, I'd love to know. I would love to know what you've done on your stamping journey. I'd love to know if you're thinking, well, I want the next level. I want the next step, because as quick as I'm learning, I want to teach. So as soon as I know exactly what you want to learn, hopefully I can do it with you. So what I'm going to do is tape that background straight onto my load and fold and bring up my stamp. Okay, so I'm going to pick my stamp up here. There we are. And I'm going to add a little bit of that stays on. So I'm just going to make sure the edge of this flourish here, as you can see, the way this flourish is designed, it tapers out, which means as it comes down onto my background, I'm going to get that beautiful tapering edge onto this beautiful background here. So I'm going to go straight in with my stamp in here, and I'm going to load that up with my stays on again. I'm going to bring it down onto the surface, just like that. There we go. I'm going to pick this up. There we go. And you can see we've got that beautiful stamped image over the top of here, which just looks beautiful. So I'm going to take a little bit more of my ink here, load up that stamp. There we go. And I'm going to bring it over again. So depending on which ways you like to stamp, I am using, like I say, the load and fold today. If you've got an acrylic block, you can use that for some of these as well. It's entirely up to you which way you prefer to stamp. I chose to use a load and fold because it's my preferred way of using it, because it means the exact process I've just done is what you can do, because you can line it up again without having to actually worry about getting it dead center. So I'm going to flip this around and have it, I'm going to take that tape away actually, I'm going to position it on this side because we're going to do the same. So we're going to mirror this image. So I'm going to take that background again here, pick up my stamp, and then bring it over to here. I mean, this here, I've only used 2 stamp sets, and you can already see the options that you can create. I'm going to pick that stamp up, bring it away, take my Stays On ink again for this one. And you can actually stamp as well. So if you're going for the inks like your Age Mahogany or those ones that are on their website, you can actually pick up and load those onto your stamps as well. So if you're working on a white background, that's brilliant. If I've got time, I'll show you that. So what I'm going to do is pick this up, bring it straight down onto here. There we go. And then again, we've got that beautiful stamped image on both edges of our background. So you can see there now, what we've actually got is that beautiful background running down the middle. Then we've used our stamps there to actually get that image on either side. So it's coming in from both angles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my stamp back on my carrier sheet. So I'm going to take that away. And we can now build up the card project. So I've chosen to do cards with you today because I feel like it's the best way to start establishing stamping techniques, because once you've got it down onto paper craft, then you can actually take it anywhere you want to. So I'm going to pick up some black and I'm going to pick up white, because again we've stamped, right, okay, what I want to share with you is using white cardstock scares a lot of people, and I totally get it. If I'm ever working with like an A3 size sketchbook or a large white space, I get very intimidated. And I don't know where it comes from. I think it comes from when I was in college and we used to have these big books when we'd make projects, and I'd be a little bit nervous. I'm thinking, well, I don't actually know what I'm supposed to be filling here or where I should start. And that's why I worked on a smaller scale today, because it shows you that, of course, if you're making these large inked backgrounds and you're just splashing and having a play, you can then taper it down into smaller areas. So using white card is okay. It's great. The white space is good. It's somewhere for the eye to rest. So what I'm going to do is actually place that down dead center in the middle of here, but I'm going to put the black one on first. So I'm going to take some wet glue here, just onto the back here, and what I've let it do is actually dry up a little bit. Silly me. Let me get my pin here, and just quickly poke a hole in top of there. There we are. Always keep a pin handy, just in case. So I'm going to take that straight down onto the top of my black cardstock here. And then I'm going to line this up pretty much centrally. Now, if I wanted to, I could take it to my glass mat. You can see I've got 6 inches of card here. So if I work with the center of this one, I can go to my 3-inch point. So always work to the tool you're working on as well, because it's there to help you. So we're going to work with the black first. So I've marked that up centrally on there. And then this I've cut, which will just be shy of those edges, giving me a really nice black pin line mat on there. So again, I'm going to take up a little bit of that card with some of that glue, lay it down just centralized to that image there. Okay, just bring that into the middle. And then what I've done is I've taken that stamp again, and actually before I place this down, I want to show you that full stamped image. Now I've got a bit of white cardstock here just to show you the whole image coming out in one go. Take the stamp again. Then I'm going to go straight into, but we're going to use a different one. We're going to use this one here, it's a little smaller. So we've got 2 on that stamp set to use. So of course, they complement one another, because we've used a larger one for the background. We're going to use a smaller one for the foreground. I'm going to pop that back in there. We're going to take that smaller stamp into our load and fold. And I'm using like an 8x8 size load and fold for this one today, because it means I've got more room to play with. So then I've left my tape in there to tape down my card. I'm going to do a little bit at either end. There we go. And I'm going to place that right down in the middle. And as well, when you're using a StazOn ink pad, if you load up your stamp, okay, lay it back down and leave it for a little while, it'll actually stick to the card. So when it's sticking to the card, it can be harder to pull away, meaning you might pull your card up from your load and fold. So always stamp it and then quickly get it back off. So I'm going to load this up again with my ink just to show you the resolution of this stamp, okay, and the decoupage potential with this. So straight down onto my surface, applying that distributed pressure there, pick it straight back up, and you can see, I'm going to go in just one more time with my ink. The quality of the stamps means you've got no spread and no splurge of ink under there. It doesn't pull up. But if I take this off and just to show you the fine detail that you're getting with this stamp, you can see there how detailed it is. It looks like you've literally sat there with an ink fine liner pen, like a fountain pen, and drawn this by hand, because the detail that you're getting is incredible with those stamps. That there sits beautifully dead center in the middle of a card as a statement. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to take my stamp off here, pop it onto my carrier sheet. Thank you again for joining us as well. Once this live's ended, it will still be able to be accessed as well on the Highlight Crafts Facebook page. So if you've been at work today, maybe you've missed the live, don't worry about it. You can still catch up, because if you've seen the post saying we've got the CraftTV today, you can still access it there. And it's going to be on our YouTube as well. So make sure you can find it. So don't ever worry if you think you've missed it. What I've done when we have that stamped image is I've cut it out of that beautiful white shape. So you can see there it's cut out in white. Then I've also gone around the edge of this and cut it out in black as well, which means we've got a real nice statement for this one. So we can lay them over the top of one another like this. We can have a drop shadow to the side like this. We can centralize it, so we've got a really nice fine detail, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take some glue on the back of here, and I'm just going to load that up with my glue. There we are. And then I'm going to make sure I'm adding it to those little tiny edges here that we've got. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue just on the tips of this bits of foliage here. There we go. And I'm literally just dotting it with glue, because I don't need much. In fact, I've probably even put too much on that. It would have needed less. But then I can actually take it to this mat of black card here. Okay. There we are. There we go, we've got around. And if you, for example, if you didn't want to sit and cut this out, you can do exactly what we've been doing, which is loading this into your scan and cut, and you can then cut around the edges of this. It's entirely up to you in whichever way you want to cut these out. Now, I do think somewhere I had, in fact, actually, it doesn't matter. It does, I've got it, I found it. This little piece went wandering away. We're going to use this at the end. So when we're making those backgrounds, when we cut them out, so this one's almost dry, when you're cutting out your images or stamping onto it, always keep the waste that's left over. So this was a little snippet I actually found on my craft room floor yesterday and thought, what am I doing chucking that away? I can use it, save all these little pieces. Okay, because then I can show you what we're going to do. So we've got that beautiful stamped image here. Now, if fussy cutting is, sorry, do excuse me. If fussy cutting isn't your thing, it's entirely up to you which ways you want to layer these up. But I find it quite therapeutic. So if I lay this just central over the top here, what I can then do is place that black just behind here to give it a full frame. Okay, so we're going to take a little bit more of our glue just around these edges. Now, I really hope this live today, this CraftTV, is giving you some inspiration, because whilst I've been doing this, it's actually given me more ideas of what I'd like to show you next time, because there's so much to be explored with stamping, and it's a craft, like I explained, that is still something that I'm definitely learning with. And that's because I'm learning as a whole. I mean, craft for me is something I've always done, but different crafts is something I'm getting into right now. And it means, of course, picking up that new knowledge just expands your creativity. It allows you to do so many more things. So again, we're going to go on the last layer with white. So I'm just going to glue around the edge of this. And then I'm going to go back into my stamp set. So let's have a look. We've glued that down, so we've got a beautiful frame there. We've got our lovely stamped image either side with our beautiful cutout one with our drop shadow with a strip down the middle to break it up. Then what we want to do is utilise this lovely little piece here. So I'm going to go into my stamp sets. I'm going to use a different one actually, I think. So let's have a look. So I think I'm going to use, let's have a look, let's see what we've got. I'm going to go into our stamps, I'm going to build them up, see which ones I like. In fact, actually, I really like the Peony one. I do like that, but just to show you which other ones you've got your Tulip one. So in your Tulip set, I did just touch that. I don't know what I've done with it. It's somewhere in here. I've actually, I promise you I've got it. I've literally just been playing with it like a minute ago. But it says Tulip in it. There we go, it's here. Tulip, so you get beautiful little sentiment stamps in each one of these, which is brilliant. So your little Tulip one, I do really like that. I'm going to use the Peony one, which I put down in all that bundle of stuff just then. So I would pick up my little sentiment there and go back into my load and fold. Now this could be done with a tiny acrylic block if you wanted to, but I just love using my load and fold because then I can line it back up. So I'm going to go into here, a little bit of tape, okay, just on those edges. There we are. So I'm just going to tape one edge and the other. And then we're going to bring in our sentiment center just there. Going to pick it up, and then I'm going to load it up with ink. There we go. Stamp it straight down into the center, so we can pick that up out of here. We can put our stamp back where it should go. And then I know whether it's on the carrier sheet, it doesn't damage your stamps. It's always important to keep them on the sheets that they come with because then they stay flat and organized as well. You always want to, depending on how you want to store them, I always store them flat in a book. So with your Craftmaster wallets, you can put them in there with your ring binders, store them in there, have them upright or flat, but always make sure the stud pressed against the surface so they keep nice and streamlined together. So I'm going to take my load and fold to one side. I'm going to go back into that wet glue, and then all I'm going to do is use that background image with my sentiment onto a bit of black card, which I've just skimmed around the edge of here, so I know it's just the right size. And I think what I'm going to do is take just a bit of foam tape for this. There we are, on the back of here. And then I'm going to peel this away, which gives us just a bit of height. I've used a 3mm depth for this one, so this is the bit that's really going to stand out for us. We can place this here, or we can place this at the top. In fact, I'm not quite sure where I want to put it. I think it looks quite nice down here. Yeah, because I've got the yellow up here, and I've got some yellow here, which means it's really going to complement it quite nicely. And having that black mat behind that sentiment means it's actually framed all the way around the edge with this one. So as well, if you've actually managed to get hold of this stamp set, if you saw it when Mel first launched it, please do show us your samples as well. But I'm going to show you a quick few samples that we've got here. Show us your project. So again, in a similar format, you can see here, we've got different ones. So I've been experimenting with different backgrounds just to show you different outcomes with this. As well, we're talking about that beautiful big lace panel. You can see there, but then this, using your alcohol inks, your backgrounds, you can create some stunning effects with that. Again, going into your glitters, your embossing, just look at that there, that shadow that you've got, but then when it just bounces the light off it there, that's what you can be recreating with your beautiful stamps. Again, with maybe gold embossing, this could be a new technique for you. This could be something you've done before and thought, wow, I've never seen it done on a scale like that with stamping before. Maybe never thought to use it with flourishes. Something really simple yet effective, using a banner of colour to complement what naturally maybe sat inside the flower as your background, and then having a play with composition, stamping your image just completely over the top of that colour allows you to have far more creativity and explore different techniques. But maybe if you're into your scrapbooking in mixed media, now this is incredible. Now this here is layered with vellums, incorporating knickknacks from your stash, but you can see we've got the heart stamps in here. We've got those beautiful peonies here that are cornering both those edges. We've got our sentiments in there. We can see there those big lace borders that run through either edge. There's so much to look at on here, but it's so pleasing on the eye. This is a card you would want to give to someone and know exactly how they're going to feel when they receive it, because the amount of effort that's gone into this was actually so easy and achievable for anybody, because that stamped images was what you're going to get with that beautiful fine quality of that one. So you can see here, I've had a great deal of fun today, and I really hope you've actually enjoyed the show, because it's something I absolutely love doing, and stamping allows you to explore, like I said, so many different new techniques. So as well, if you've caught this at a later hour, maybe you've literally just joined us and thought, I've missed it. You've not, don't worry, it'll be on the page so you can go straight back to it, watch it at your leisure. And as well, it's an amazing offer for you to get hold of with those stamps. It is brilliant. So your Petals and Lace complete collection and viewfinders as well in there as a little bonus. 51 stamps, 8 viewfinders, originally £121.91. You're going to get it at an incredible price for £69.99. But of course, if you are a Robin's Nest member, you get it for the phenomenal price of £62.99 for all those 51 stamps and viewfinders, which is going to give you a saving of £58.92. So plenty to play with in there. It's a forever card making kit and forever stamping collection, because you just know that within that kit, you've got so much versatility to explore with that. But maybe for you, maybe you're thinking maybe just the lace or maybe just the florals, that is a complete option for you to take. So Lace to Perfection collection. That was a mouthful. 14 stamps in total with that one. Originally $56.96 down to $39.99, and of course that luxury Robin's Nest member price of $35.99, which is irresistible because you're going to save £20.97 for those 14 stamps. It's an incredible value for money to go with. Maybe on the show you bought the florals and you're thinking, not too sure about the lace. Now it's the time for you to be able to do that at that incredible price for you. So as well, we do have your Flower Patch collection with 37 stamps in total in there, so plenty to play with on this one. You can see the artwork's exquisite. For 37 stamps at a Nest member's price, you're getting it for $35.99, which is going to give you a total saving of $20.97. And you can see, going from $56.96 to that price, it's an incredible deal for you to be able to hop onto today. And as well, of course, if you're maybe thinking of layering up, maybe you don't have any of those inks just yet, thinking of the backgrounds you can create, you've got an unlimited supply of printable backgrounds. You've got 35 backgrounds and scenes on there on that beautiful Petals and Lace USB. Price of $21.99 down to $19.79 if you're in the Nest members group. So that's a great opportunity to go for. Play with those different colourways. But of course you might be thinking, what am I going to be stamping onto? The card I've used in today's demonstrations was the Pureprint 300 GSM. You're going to get 50 A4 sheets of that one, so plenty to play with. Of course, you've got over 100 A4. We've got 100 A5 cards in there. Price of $9.99 down to $7.99. And if you're in the Robin's Nest member, you're going to get it for £7.19, an immense saving for 50 A4 of that. It's incredible. So of course, for that Robin's Nest membership, go straight to the Highlight Crafts website at highlightcrafts.com. You can locate it there, navigate on the website so easily, and it's £24 for a 12-month membership, which is amazing. You're paying £2 a month effectively, which is, you know, less than a cup of coffee you might be getting one day. It's amazing. And you're going to get all of those beautiful goodies in there. So the benefits include 10% off all purchases on the Highlight Crafts website, which is amazing. Free delivery on orders of £25. So remember, if you're maybe thinking of going for something like that Pureprint to top up your order, you then got your free delivery, which is great. Early access to the web exclusives, your Robin's Nest lanyard, your pin badge, special offers. You're going to get that window sticker as well to play with. And you can hear about all the workshops and retreats first. So if there's something coming up you're thinking you maybe want to join, maybe it's one of our workshops coming up or a retreat, anything like that, you know that you're going to get all that information firsthand, which gives you a nice little incentive. But do check out our website as well, because you can see there just a little look at some of the bits we've been using today. You've got your distress oxides, you've got all of those stamps, you've got your fine liners as well, which will go brilliantly with this. But that Pureprint 300 GSM, incredible price for that one. You're not going to be disappointed with that. You're going to find yourself having an absolute joy stamping with it. So again, I hope I've inspired you, because for me this has been an amazing opportunity, and it's actually really nice to be able to sit down and share a bit more with you all. The shows are brilliant, absolutely incredible. Being able to sit here though and have a little bit more of a relaxed chat with you and share a little bit more inspiration, I think we all enjoy it. So thank you ever so much for joining today. I've had a brilliant time. I hope you have a lovely day. Watch out for the wind, it's pretty crazy. So have a lovely time. Thank you and take care.